So egg yolk oil is used for topical healing. And it can be used for some internal, like ulcers, can be helped with egg yolk oil. It's used for when your animals get a wound, when your humans get a wound. Egg yolk oil has been used for many, many years by several cultures around the world as a healing. Fertilized eggs are best, but all eggs will work. And so we're basically using the auxins and biochemicals of the egg yolk oil as a topical healing. This is T cells, if you will, or whatever. So there's different ways to harvest an egg yolk. You can do the pour back and forth between the two shells, or, oh, why do I have that on there? So in it's too deep. Messed it up. This is a terrible tool for that, actually. I need a bowl. What? The egg carton, that's a great idea. It is plastic. It didn't work. These are not natural farming eggs. All right, so then I'm gonna do it the other way. I've now wasted two. I'm done doing that. So yeah, you can do it in your hand. Do it with your fingers. I generally. Oh, you want to drink the egg? I generally do this. I scoop the egg yolk back and forth, and let the shell cut off the whites. That's how I learned. But if you have natural farming eggs, you can scoop them right with a water bottle, and they'll just hold up in there and they won't break, because the membrane of natural farming chickens is better. All right, but you don't want egg whites in this process. Man, we should have got a bunch of eggs. If we're gonna do egg yolk oil, I should have made a ton. I can replace them. Yeah, you have a bunch of eggs up there? We'll replace them today then. May as well have some to take home. So in Japan and Korea, the archers would carry egg yolk oil in a little pouch on their hip when they went to war. And if they got struck by a poison arrow, which people were using, or they got a wound, they would apply the egg yolk oil to the wound. And it's used in India. I had a student come from India, and he said, oh yeah, this is our traditional topical healing. Totally disconnected, nothing to do with war. They just did it for their healing purposes. And so it's used by many cultures. And when stuff like that's passed down traditionally through generations, it's probably because it works. But I've found it to work extremely well for topical healing. And I know others have some pretty significant stories of how egg yolk oil has been for them. Okie dokie. I'm going to wait for a few more eggs to come down. And maybe we put another... What? So the white's good for eating. You can drink it. Make yourself an omelet, egg white omelet. But no, we don't use it for this process. This is specifically an egg yolk process. And just beware that this isn't easy on pans. If you have a favorite pan, or your mom's favorite pan, or your wife's favorite pan, you probably don't want to make egg yolk oil in it because it might not be the same. Now, if it's cast iron, generally it'll be fine. You can get it nice and clean. I probably should have dusted out those eggshells. All right, so I am not seeing syngas. Oh, tiny bits. Still tiny bits of wisps of syngas coming out. So it's not finished yet. If I harvested now, it'd be a little early. If you wanted to check it, you could scoop it, set it aside, let it cool, check it, and then put it back on the fire if it wasn't done. Yes?
For the nerds among us, egg oil is loaded with triglycerides, with traces of lecithin, cholesterol, biotin, xanthophylls, and immunoglobulins, which is maybe why it was so good for in war.
Okay.
That's pretty cool. I didn't know. I just didn't. Like
Yeah, this is a pretty fun tech.
doesn't say. Let me look into that.
I think we need to do another log though, because we need some heat for this one.
It's like natural healing. You get the triglycerides and immunoglobulins.
Yep.
The building blocks the cell membrane. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Will you grab that side? It's cool. I touched it. And we're gonna go just straight up, straight down.
That's the main ingredient in cell.
Thank you, sir. I think we got it. Thank you, my friend. Just robbed all your eggs. I appreciate it. I think you definitely deserve a little bit of finished product, if anything. Sadly, there probably will not be enough except for us to use it on our cuts. We can't all take home a big batch. It is not extremely high yielding. I've actually never had a great deal of success with that thing unless it's natural farming eggs with the whole water bottle thing. But this is easy for me.
Can you use like duck eggs?
You can. Well, you're not making this all the time because a little goes a long way. This keeps, you keep it in the fridge. It's like any oil. It can go rancid. I generally make it with a dozen eggs if I'm going to do it. Again, fertilized eggs are best. They have a higher amount of active cells, I believe. You know, it's already started to produce something in addition to the original egg. On its way to being a chick. Energy. All right. This is not the fastest thing. And you want to try and keep the egg yolk somewhat uniform. So it's not necessarily the best to add it at different times because you want it to all finish at exactly the same time. and you can do a cool or a hot fire. But if you're gonna do a hot fire, you just gotta make sure you don't miss the critical points. Breaking up the eggs into small pieces as you do it is valuable for that finished product. Hey Ben, on that back table I have a small capped tin. It's like the diameter of a jar. It's about that high and it has a cap on it. It's a little tin, empty, and I need that for the finished egg yolk oil. I once put this in a glass. I poured it into glass after it was done, and the glass shattered and I lost all my egg yolk oil. So I'm kind of careful what I pour into now.
Can you drink it?
Yeah, not when it's hot though. Oh yeah, it gets way beyond scrambling the yolks though. You've never made eggs like this.
That's what you're talking about?
No, I want that. It's all tin. It's metal. It's cylindrical. Yeah, sorry. And I guess if we heated that, it might work. Heat the jar before we pour it in, maybe. But it's pretty hot oil, and I don't want it to shatter. What? Inside it? It helps move the heat, or what?
I guess. I don't really know.
Interesting. Like a heat sink. Perfect, that's the one. Nope. It's like a heat transfer. That's interesting. So this is pretty hot. Oops. And maybe a little too hot for this, maybe not. It'll just happen faster. You do want to keep making those pieces small so that you maximize surface area and everything kind of cooks in real uniform, because it undergoes like I guess it's a heat chemical change, like a chemical change through heat. You destroy a certain organic bond and it changes pretty instantly. So you'll see here it happened before your eyes. Any questions?
Is there a temperature that organic bond breaks?
It's more time. Because this is crazy hot, and so it's almost like it has to be exposed to that temperature for a certain amount of time. So time and temperature, I guess. I don't know. I guess you might be able to do it at a very specific temperature and flash do it. I don't know. But it all of it kind of changes. Kind of like the biocharing of bones. It's similar, but we get a different ingredient out of it. This fire is hot on my face. Somebody want to stir this? You got the technique down? You've been watching the technique? Were you saying that because you were suggesting you, Heather?
I like it.
All right. So keep moving that around like I was doing. There you go.
My technique okay so far?
So far, it's looking quite good. I need a drink. I'll be right back. Don't stop moving it. But yeah, I mean, with livestock farming, livestock gets wounds, and you have You can put on, purple antibiotic spray. You can do all kinds of different stuff. But if you have just a container of egg yolk oil and an applicator, you just smear that on the wound, and generally the healing is really complete. You don't get complications with that healing process. And yeah, it's just a nice tool that you can make, especially if you have chickens already, that you can make with something on your farm you don't have to purchase.
Is it recommended? Can you use it for maybe a little bit deeper wounds, like gashes or something?
Gashes, yeah. Yeah, clean the wound and then apply egg yolk oil. Really good for burns.
It's good to add into like salad dressing by itself.
Add into what?
Salves.
Yeah, absolutely. If you make a product and you wanna promote healing, topical healing, adding in. The only thing is, it doesn't smell super good. It kind of has a charry smell, taste. So I mean, if you're going for a boutique, super fragrant, yeah, you got to make sure you find something to bounce out that kind of flat smell. That smell's not going to sell your product, I guess is what I'm saying. Yeah, cedar oil. I love cedar oil. All right, so yeah, these I just rinse out and dry, and they're ready to go to make WCA. That's we could do that. You guys could do that if you wanted on the barbecue. All right, I'm gonna jump in now. Let me have that glove back.
Yes, sir.
We're moving closer to the final stage. It's the final countdown. And we'll finish this and dismiss you from lunch. If a few of you are getting from the food truck, you could go over early and make your order. But what's gonna happen here is I'm gonna keep moving it around, and it'll start smoking pretty good. And then there'll be a point in that where you'll see me move kind of quickly, and that smoking changes where the whole material, all the material kind of goes through a shift. It switches from what it is now to something very different. And it's already starting to kind of make that shift and that change. It's blackening, but we got a little ways left.
Seems like a hotter fire might be, rather than cooler fire, because you get a cooler fire.
Take longer.
A long time.
Yeah, no, you do want a hot fire, but you don't want it so hot that it happens out of order, that it's kind of happening before it all finishes. You want it all to kind of finish about the same time. And that might be in part that I was cooking some of them before. Again, I'm continuing to chop it to as small a particle as possible. So I got little popcorn pieces or corn kernel sizes now. I want to keep that getting smaller, and that's to help with that uniformity of burn, so that I get a nice clean oil without any of those organic bonds left in it. Moving it around helps too with that uniformity. I don't see any more syngas escaping from our container here. So we'll watch that. We'll leave it a little bit longer, but that's about ready to take off. Obviously, the right tools for this job would be good. A long-handled thing would work better. I don't always teach egg yolk oil. These are one of those extras that we get to when we have time. It seemed like the right day for it, though. Alrighty. So all the material goes to a pretty black state before it finishes. So the closer we get to that black burnt state, the closer I know I am to being done. I want to keep it moving so that I get everything to that black state before some of it finishes. I want a uniform finish. Whoop. Getting my sweat on. Ooh, it's getting closer. It holds you at the edge for a while though. Like it's almost there, and then all of a sudden it happens all at once. All right, you see the color change? Yep, it'll get real smoky before the end. Here comes that smoke. So that different timing that I put the eggs on is affecting us. That little lag in between the first batch and the second. Yeah, it's starting to, so the early stuff is starting to oil up before the late stuff.
Oh shit. Oh wow. That's crazy.
And so I'm getting this oil forming down here. And I don't necessarily want to cook it a whole lot past that last point it does.
One point where that oil started burning off too, like there's definitely
Not really. It is kind of charry, the oil.
Well, it's just all the smoke and heat going right in my face.
Yeah.
that too.
I wonder if you get a lot of vegetable oils, if you go beyond a certain temperature, the fats break apart and it becomes like
Something else?
it's really toxic for your body. So I wonder if there's a point. It's like usually the smoke point of oil is usually
All right, that's it. So once you get to the point where it kind of completes, this turns into a paste. You can push the oil out of it, but you're not going to really get more. So now I remove it from heat. I don't want to leave it on heat after. Yep, and so I'm just gonna, now I'm gonna pull my solids into a pile so that they lose the rest of their oil. I can kind of press them for the remainder, but it is a strange little item that I'm left with. Okay, this is stinking hot. Oh, I did not pour that very well. Ha 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 ha.
Need a double glove.
Walk away. That's probably had a little more oil in it, so I could press that out a little bit more and get a few more drops. What? So one of great use for egg yolk oil is hemorrhoids. If you somebody you know or you have hemorrhoids, you put egg yolk oil on a cotton ball and tuck it in for the night, and you will really address and deal with a lot of your issue in one night. Yeah, you want it to cool down first. I don't know. See if the pigs will eat it. Oh.
Thank you for sacrificing.
Yeah. So we gotta let this cool.
how do you store it?
This you store in the fridge. It can go rancid like any oil. Some people, what they do is they dip Q-tips and they store their Q-tips in the fridge. So if they get a cut, they'll just use that one Q-tip instead of having to open the jar and mess with it. Yeah, it's pretty wonderful as far as a tool for topical healing. I mean, you got kids; they're always getting scrapes. Have them clean it, and then just do a little dab of egg yolk oil and send them on their way.
Go for broken bones.
No, broken bones. You want bone knit. You want comfrey root. You get comfrey root, harvest it, mix it with just a little bit of water, and get the dirt off and everything. Mix it with a little bit of water in a blender, and it's a specific amount of water so that it's kind of a gel or a paste, not really a liquid. You want it kind of pliable so you can put it somewhere and it stays in place, and it'll create a cast that's waterproof. So you can put it on a forearm, wrap it all the way around, and let it harden, let it dry, and then you can take a shower with it, whatever. And those nutrients transfer through your skin, and they actually are incredibly helpful for the bone knitting process. The blood flow is not there for ligaments and joints and stuff, so it doesn't have quite the same effect for like a twisted ankle. But for bones, it's called bone knit because it's incredible for that. And you can make a cast. Also, heavy burns, or you scrape some skin off, you can create a poultice that'll stay on. It gets like cast-like, and then take that off, and you have all new skin. You know, leave it on for a week. It's pretty cool. But that's what's good for bone. Yeah, comfrey root, the root. Yeah, Wendy just did that with her daughter. She went into to get her brake checked, and they're like, "Oh, what did this happen like a few months ago?" She's like, "No, 1 month ago." And they're like, "What?" They were pretty blown away at the healing speed, because she didn't get casted, she got splinted, and so they made a comfrey cast for her, and she had a really effective healing. Great for like hairline fractures too and stuff like that you're not going to get casted for. All right, guys, this is it. If you want to put some on something that ails you, feel free. Try not to contaminate it with dirty hands. But this will be right here. It'll cool down in a little bit. Feel free to put some on your cuts or your wounds.